They didn't know how to survive. They did the best they could in that very unstable, uncertain environment when somebody was running off the handle of whether they were in a good mood or bad mood or whatever it was. It was just very inconsistent emotional control. At the same time, people before us didn't have the knowledge that they have now for that emotional control. So that's where we're getting into this evolution of understanding our emotions and understanding how we communicate. And when we're communicating, understanding that I might be in a bad mood, but how to not take that bad mood out on my child. Now, I'm not saying anything physical or anything, but quite literally in the, can't you just hurry up?
Right. The agitation tone. Yes, right.
Absolutely. And knowing how to keep your nervous system calm. This is another great reason why meditation and journaling and doing that inner work are so important, because you're doing your best to stay emotionally stable and consistent and to live in joy and to live in feeling good as much as possible. Yes, other things will happen, but to understand that you need to take care of yourself, quite literally, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you'd like to label it under, in order to take even better care of those around you, because it's a lot being human. It's a lot. Hands down, it's a lot. Especially with the stimulation that we have coming in from other people and then other devices and then work-related things. It's a lot, and it overwhelms the system. So we have to quite literally learn practices to take care of ourselves to the best of our ability so that we can function in a peaceful way, in a pleasant way, in a joyful way with those around us.
I love that so much. I think last time we talked about, you mentioned a number about how much communication is nonverbal. Was it like 70%?
Upwards of 70. So there's even some research that says 90. So we're communicating with our tone and our face and our energy. There's so much going on, and that's not what we're consciously aware
of. Right. But you can see that forming in children, right? Because they might not know what a word means, but they will see the way you are behaving, and they'll understand circumstances that are surrounding them, right? And then as those events keep happening, it becomes history to that thing. It's like, oh, well, when this happens, right? Because I was thinking more about words. I think something I take personally is wrong words often, because I'm like, well, why would you say, and I think because when you learn a language, you really know a definition to it. So then you attach the definition to the word, and that's the rule. So you hold the rule. But then language is all made up. The words we're saying right now is made up. Like, they chose that these words are going to mean this, and we all said, sure. And we said, this is a coffee cup and this is a straw. But in a different language, that's not what those words even, right? The characters, the letters of our words aren't even real, because across the border, they could speak a different language. And so what you're saying, it doesn't translate. But what we do pick up on is that the nonverbal part of the communication is the body closed. Because if someone's running at you, kind of swinging, but they're saying, I love you.
Yeah.
Right? You got to learn how to protect yourself. And
very much so.
It's just so interesting to me how much of it we grasp in those early years, right? That really defines where our arrow is going to go, of how much power, self-will, confidence, encouragement, or pity, victimhood, that will fuel a rocket.
Very much so. And, it is the environment that you experience that you're shaped in. But then at a certain point, my mentor says this to me very often, once you become 18, you are now considered an adult. You have the right and the authority and the responsibility to shift anything else about yourself that you want, or about your environment that you want. And once you hear that and you find, I'm going to put myself back in the driver's seat, or I'm going to take control now, and I'm going to start choosing things differently. I choose to choose my thoughts. I choose to focus on the positive. I choose to take care of myself in a different way. I choose to change the recording in my head and to start looking for answers to the questions. I had so many questions, and this was going back many years, and before smartphones, we had, you know, our regular internet, thankfully. And I started looking stuff up on the internet, looking for answers to my questions. And the journey got better and better. Yes, there were parts that were very hard, because when you're going through your subconscious and you're trying to figure out why you have a terrible relationship with food, or why you have this really weird relationship with money, like you want more of it, but then you think about money in a certain way. These are conflicting beliefs. Just like you want to eat, but then you're afraid to eat. These are conflicting beliefs, and there's something else going on. And when you can start looking at them, especially when you work with a coach, or if you work with whomever you want to work with, it becomes not you're the problem. It becomes, we have a problem. Can you help me look at this? And I think that is the massive, profound difference of understanding I'm the problem versus I'm okay. I have a bunch of problems.
Right.
Can you help me with them? I don't know what to do. And I really also didn't understand the concept of asking for help. I thought asking for help for me meant that I was stupid and that I didn't know things. Once I started to say, okay, maybe there's something I don't know, and that's okay. So who can help me with that?
Right.
And I started to work with different people to figure out who I liked working with, who I liked learning from, and who could help me.
Right. There's so much in that choice. And I think something you mentioned, you know, like kids, let's say up to 16, get told no and they can't do something so often that it does build up. So when it happens, a lot of times we can see a rebellion because they're finally like, I can do all of these things. And then it's like unsupervised almost rebellion where they're learning from themselves, which is important to do. But and more I want to talk about, because like you said, the asking for help and learning how to actually say it.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. And nobody taught me, but I want to make sure our kids get taught that. That's like, it's okay to ask for that help. I think we talked about within the SLP where I want to make sure parents always feel confident that they can ask for help. There's nothing wrong with their parenting. There's nothing wrong with their kid. So you said those problems aren't us. And it was like a light bulb for me when you said that, where I'm like, that's what I do. I identify myself with the problem. I become the definition, or the problem becomes the definition of me, and I become one with it. But I'm not the problem. I'm carrying this backpack that I put away, this like boulder of an event, and now I just need to like paint on this boulder, drop it off, give it to somebody else, go put it near a lake, like whatever, right? But like, I don't need to keep it. It's not mine to keep. It's okay to let go of that. And to then ask for help and assistance to help figure out where to put that boulder or rock. That's hard to do.
Very much so. And the importance of asking for help, especially when it comes to whether you're asking for help for yourself or for your child or for whomever, to understand that there may be people that come across in a less than positive way. Well, what do you need help with that? Well, what did you do that for?
Sure.
That's a shaming. That's a guilting way. That's not the person that you're wanting to match up with. When it comes to, especially when you're asking, like, I'm having difficulty with this, can you share some knowledge? And that's their response. That tone of how they communicated to you, that's on them. How you respond with that tone of going, okay, I didn't like that tone. I'm going to have to go find somebody else because clearly you're not my person. That's on you. And that's the delineation between the two of saying like, well, I don't think I deserve to be treated like that. No, you didn't, hands down. Either way, just not your match. It was a clear signal that that was not your match that you're looking for. So now, especially when you're working with a speech pathologist or any therapist, anybody at some point, when I work with clients, we have a problem. My client isn't the problem. Their child isn't the problem. There is a problem, though. How can we help? How can we be of service? And that's the most important thing, is being able to say, okay, there are a number of ways that we can go about solving this. Which ones look like potentials? Which ones really look like they're going to be super helpful for me right now? And I know that's more of a general statement, but that when you can look at it out in front of you and look at it for what it is, rather than identifying it as going, oh my God, it's me. No, it's not me. It's out in front of you. Or it's not your child. It's out in front of your child. Look at it that way. That will give you much more flexibility in saying, okay, how might we go about solving this? Who might I be able to call in? And that's truly important, because when parents come to me, whether they're coming to me for speech therapy or when clients come to me, I always tell them, it's okay. We're going to work on this. We're going to look at it together. We're going to figure out what's going on, especially when you have parents coming to you for speech pathology services or speech therapy services. They're coming in such an urgency, and they're already feeling a lot of blame and shame on themselves of, I did something to my child. Right, I did this. And I tell them, you didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to parent. You're doing a great job. This is simply where we are. And my role is to figure out additional ways on how we can get you to where you want to go, how we can help your child, and who else might be able to help your child. That's the most important, is being of service and offering that service to them.
I love that. I think that's definitely where I struggle, is identifying with the issue at hand. And what I want to work on is when I hear a statement in a tone that I don't like, where it makes me feel belittled or not good enough, or that was a dumb idea, to like grasp it as is. It's like, it was just a statement, and it's probably